What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 333 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name's Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo!
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello!
This week, we're geeking out about Hufflepuff Pride, the future of Batman in the DCU, and Wizards of the Coast telling people to Nintendo don't, which I didn't understand until today. So hopefully we're all going to get a little bit educated here. Mm-hmm. Except Shelley, she knows exactly what's going on.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Mostly. Maybe more than you guys. I don't know.
Definitely more than me.
I did some
reading.
Looked it up. Yeah.
I definitely read. Yeah, anyway.
We'll
talk about it.
But hopefully it doesn't ruin D&D for me. You said it won't, so I'm hopeful.
It won't.
No. Yeah.
Before we do that, we'll get into the video games that we've been playing. LJ, you go ahead. The first episode of the year, technically, like the first normal show.
Yeah. So I have been playing God of War Ragnarok, and it is great. It's one of those things where it's like, if you've played and finished the first game, there's a lot that they're still building up on, and it's just one of those things that's like, I am dreading finishing this game. Like, I do not, like, it gets more, like, I'm like, I don't know, you know, like, but it's so good. It's moving, I guess I'm surprised that the story feels like it's moving a bit faster than I expected.
The last game was like, we're going to get to that mountain.
Yes.
And you just spend the entire time going, I'm almost there. I gotta be there soon. And
that's the thing. That's the thing that aggravated me the most about the first game. But I feel like
light spoilers, not really though.
The pacing is really on point, you know, because there are points where it's like it does slow down a bit, but it makes sense why, you know, like it's not just like, this thing is blocked, we got to go do this other thing now, you know. It's all natural.
That's cool.
It's good. Yeah, and there's not much more that I can say. It's just so much more refined than the first game. It just feels real smooth to play. I mean, like, Kratos still kind of feels kind of like tankish, because he always felt kind of like you're moving around this blocky dude now, you know, like, whereas in the other games, you know, he was really fast and he'd swing his chains around and stuff, but just, he feels like a mass of a dude, but it feels like more...
He's getting older.
Yes, it feels more natural to play this time around. Okay. And, yeah, so it's good. The other thing I didn't list on here is I have been getting back into Marvel Snap, especially in the last couple of days, thanks to my new phone. I got one of those fold phones. So it's like,
cool.
It looks really pretty on there, and it's so nice. So I've been playing a lot more Marvel Snap again, trying to get to rank 20.
Yesterday was the first day that I didn't play Vampire Survivors in weeks. So maybe I'll go back to Marvel Snap because of that. I've been playing Vampire Survivor every day.
The mobile games, yeah.
I did try playing that on the cloud, but I wasn't that comfortable with it, like Vampire Survivors. But
my wife started playing, and she bought the mobile version, and I am jealous that I didn't start it on the mobile version, because cloud gaming is cool.
So,
I wish certain parts I could change it to vertical. And
that's my
I can't
debate.
leave the game on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's my debate right now. It's like, do I try playing on this cloud version? Because either I got to get on my Xbox or my PC. But then it's like, I can just start the mobile version too, which is, the mobile version's free.
Yeah, that's you. I didn't realize that when I got it on the cloud. Yeah, I just don't think I'm ever going to play it on my TV.
Man, I would love it on my Switch, which Shelley's playing on the Steam Deck. So it's like...
Switch would be cool.
And I do have my little Android device that I tried playing it on for a little while, but... I probably just, I don't know. Like last time I didn't have a great connection, so it's like they need to put that thing on Switch, so.
It'd be cool on Switch, for sure.
This company wants more money, they can put it on Switch.
Yeah. Anyways, Marvel Snap, sorry.
No, it's all good. I mean, that's Marvel Snap. I mean, yeah, there's not much else to say.
PvP should be coming out later this month.
Ooh.
From what I was reading the other day, according to my Google feed of news stuff they think I care
I want to
about,
add friends and stuff like that too, and see everyone's decks. You know that.
That would be cool.
Like, that'd be neat.
I want to play against other people. I was telling everybody. I don't think anyone picked it up that I know. But I also got to pick it up so I can play against you when that comes out. That'll make the game a lot of fun to me.
I did have an X-Men deck that I have improved since I mentioned that the first time, and then now I've started a villains deck, which I'm slowly like leveling up now too. So it's kind of cool.
I have my normal deck that I started with, a move deck, and then a destroy deck. My destroy deck is not very good. I need to work on that, like a discard deck. But my move deck is great. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's beautiful. And I usually win all 3 categories.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. So what have y'all been playing?
Go ahead, Shelley.
I haven't been playing anything new, but I still am playing Radiant Dawn, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, and I think I'm getting close to the end of it. So I'm on phase 3, and there's 4 phases, but I don't think the 4th phase is gonna be super long. I assume it's just gonna be kind of like a finale, not literally just the finale, but like I think it's I don't think it's gonna be as long as the other parts, and but it's still just a really fun game. The more I play it, the more I'm like, I don't know, maybe at least story wise, like I understand the hype now. I think many old-timer Fire Emblem fans have said, like, Radiant Dawn has the best story. And I fully agree. Like, it's so good so far. And you're finally getting to the point where you're like, you've kind of been playing, controlling different armies and different groups of people. But now things are really, like, kind of culminating. You're kind of running into those armies again. And everyone's kind of in the same place now. Whereas before, it was like everyone was kind of doing whatever across the continent. Now everyone's kind of in the same place. So that's very cool. So yeah, I just really want to beat it before Engage comes out, which comes out this week, I believe. And man, I'm starting rough in backlog golf this year because I don't have many games I actually want to buy this year. Like I really don't have many. It's only a small handful of games I'm planning on buying. But 2 of them are Fire Emblem Engage and Persona 3. Both of them come out this week. And I'm like, no. Why do they both have to come out this week? And, I could have pre-ordered them, but I hate pre-ordering. I know, one of our little causes we have in Backlog Golf, during the holiday season, you can basically, not get extra points.
Those still count. Those still count for freebies, even though it started, those still count. So
why?
You don't have to take points for those.
Why though? Because I don't own them yet. I'm going to be buying them.
Well, some people don't like to pre-order stuff, so you can still have them as freebies.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yep. So you get 3. You get 3 either pre-orders or new releases, that you're allotted to.
Okay, that makes me feel better because it's there's only those 2 games and maybe 1 or 2 others I want to get. I think one of them is the second Spider-Man game. But really, that's it. I'm just why do they both have to be in January? Come on, why couldn't they? Because now I'm trying to figure out. I'm do I want to play Fire Emblem right away? Do I want to play Persona right away? But I know my husband. I mean, he's obviously just going to play Fire Emblem. So potentially, maybe he could play it, and then I can just play Persona. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out if we're going to get 2 copies or just 1. We'll figure it out. It'll be fine. All that being said, Fire Emblem's great, and Engage looks surprisingly good. I assume the story's going to be crap. I just have a feeling. But the mechanics, just from what I've seen so far, from people who played the game already and done some pretty early reviews, sounds pretty good, which is surprising. Nice. I kind of thought it was going to be a bad game. I was really and I probably shouldn't set my expectations too high anyway. But from what I've heard, people really like it. So that's great. And I'm very, very happy for that. So I'm just excited for that. Yeah, and again, excited for Persona 3 as well. I played a little bit more Spiritfarer. I played a little bit more Potion Craft.
Nice.
Those are just games that I'm I am making progress in those games. Spiritfarer, I got a couple more passengers. And in Potion Craft, I progressed to chapter 4 or 5. I basically went up a chapter. There's different chapters in the game. I don't know how many there are. But it's hey, so I am still making progress. I just haven't made huge progress. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. I haven't made huge progress.
Progress.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. I'm sick, guys. I have sick brain, so just...
It's alright. It's been a few weeks.
Cut me some slack.
Since we've... Yeah.
We can move on, because I have nothing more to talk about there.
some of you guys know, listen, that we stream on Twitch. I've been streaming on Wednesdays. And so I was going through Game Pass looking for a game to play. And I found this really adorable looking RPG that I was like, man, this would be perfect to play for the Twitch stream. And it's really good. It's called Chained Echoes. It is not adorable. The art is nice. There is lots of cursing. Wow. And I looked into it. Apparently, it's rated M for mature for the cursing, obviously. But then there's it deals with suicide and I guess rape.
Ooh,
and yeah, so I don't.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's implied. Like I don't know yet. I've played maybe 4 hours of the game, and so far it has seemed innocent enough, except for the cursing. The cursing is crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm bummed because I was like, this is... And I got to look at it a little bit more and see if it's stuff that I can stream and then use that to platform, kind of, or if it's just so over the top that it would be pointless trying to make anything out of it, kind of thing.
Right.
So I gotta look. But that said, if you like Chrono Trigger, this is like a love letter to Chrono Trigger. There's no time travel or anything, but you have dragons and you start the game off in mech suits. And
that's so Final Fantasy VI too.
Yeah,
with the suits.
It's really cool. So you're like flying around. I guess you can fly around in your mech suits later on, and then you get an airship. Obviously, very Final Fantasy. The colors are great. It kind of looks like a bright, vibrant Stardew Valley. The people look a lot like Stardew Valley characters, but it's so well done. There's pixel art in the animations, and they're great.
Nice.
So I'm kind of bummed that it's this rated M for mature. I guess it's an indie game. I didn't think it didn't look like an indie game when I was playing it by any means. Yeah. So I will definitely keep playing it. I just don't know if it's something that I should be streaming on our platform for sure. But check it out. I would definitely look into why it's rated M for mature and see if that's... Because if it's just the cursing and it's a little dark, then we'll see. If it's the suicide stuff, then like... So far, there was one thing that happened. I don't know if that was it or not, but it was like we wanted information out of this guy, and so he took a sword and what's the Japanese thing? The seppukai, where they stab themselves.
Yeah.
He did that so that he wouldn't give us any information. And I mean, dark, but not.
Yeah.
Not when I think of suicide, in modern terminology at least. So
right.
We'll see. Characters are great. Characters are very diverse and weird. You have this mercenary and his best friend, basically, and then you literally have basically a bard, but he's just Shakespeare, mostly. So he's super cool. And then you have a thief that is literally just along for the ride because it's the safest place to be, kind of thing. It's goofy. It's and I don't know if I want to give it away. I will. Hopefully there's more random stuff in here like this. There's a race where you're racing turtles, and when the turtles race, there is heavy metal music. And it's this
Let's go.
That sounds awesome.
I literally stopped like in the middle of the stream. It was like, what am I playing at this point? It's like I don't understand. It's real goofy. But grain of salt, I would definitely check the game out more. If you're wanting to play and make sure that the content isn't anything that would be triggering, because both those things that I mentioned could be very triggering to people. And yeah, don't want to set anyone off for sure. But that's what I've been playing. It's called Chained Echoes.
Cool.
And it's on Game Pass. Yeah. That's all I've been playing though. So we'll get into the video game news then, LJ.
Yeah, so I think we all discovered that there's still not a lot of news happening, but I did pick out some interesting stuff. So Simon Pegg, the actor, is apparently playing the headmaster in Hogwarts Legacy. So that's kind of cool
strange.
to have. Yeah.
I don't think of Simon Pegg. This is the only situation where I think it makes sense for him to play the headmaster of Hogwarts.
Yeah. So according to there's the official trailer for it and everything. He is the great grandfather of Sirius Black, I believe. And so, for those of you who know about Lord of the Rings games that WB have made, they play fast and loose with the lore in those. So clearly they're gonna play around with that in this, and I'm okay with that because I'm not hardcore as much as I do love Lord of the Rings, and I'm barely a Harry Potter fan, but I still like that world and stuff. But I think it's cool, to take some creative freedom. As long as it doesn't have to be cemented in the series or whatever,
Yeah.
But I think it's neat. It's almost it's just not, I think it's cool that they're kind of playing with it, and you have to do something if you're setting it that far back.
He's a Slytherin,
and it does give you an opportunity to play with that stuff when it is that far back. I guess my best comparison would be the liberties Rings of Power took or something like that. I'm okay with that stuff. So,
it's really it's Rowling supposedly is not involved with this project.
Yeah,
but, you know, she's getting money. But
she's got to be getting something.
She already makes just the most ridiculous canon already. Yeah. Just random things that spew her mouth that are just canon.
And those are official movies honestly, and stuff too, that she's a part of.
Yeah. Yeah, and she'll just randomly be like, oh yeah, well this. Oh yeah, well this. And so a random company also being like, oh yeah, well this. It literally doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
Think about the entirety of the Fantastic Beasts movies. How much just random frickin' canon they add.
It's
that
literally
doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, Voldemort's snake. That was a person. Oh, it's literally the Shelob. It's Shelob again. Mm-hmm. At least with that was also kind of ridiculous because at least when Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War came out, Rings of Power wasn't a thing, so it seemed even more kind of weird that they're making these creative decisions, but they made it very clear it was separated and it was fine. But again, Rowling's done enough to just destroy her canon that her fans, including me, have said, okay, no, the only stuff that's canon is in the books. Maybe movies, sure. Yeah. But anything she tweets about, no. Anything in Fantastic Beasts, no. Cursed Child does not count. That's not part of the original series. We're not counting that. That's not canon. You know what I mean? So them being oh yeah, this person's related to Sirius Black. It's one of the Blacks from the very far past. Yeah, I don't care. Nothing phases me. That's fine. Yeah. In fact, I'd almost trust them with the canon more than Rowling herself.
Yes, and so that's where I was going to get to. If these folks are really dedicated fans, and I know people have reservations about the plot and the whole I think there's a whole plot around the gnomes and stuff too.
It's about the goblins
or the goblins. Okay, there we go. Which is also kind of I guess kind of sketchy too, from what I hear. But
yep. Mm-hmm.
I just hope that everybody goes and plays this game and finds something pleasant, because just the way this series and franchise has just been because of Rowling,
I know.
I just hope that this is. I hope at the end of the day that the release of this game ends up being a positive thing and a good thing.
I know, and I also heard rumors. I really hope it's not true that HBO Max is going to try rebooting the series. Whether that's through movies or a show, I have no clue.
That'd be bad.
But again, they're obsessed with trying to milk this cow for all it's worth, but they don't realize the cow's been milked. It's out. It's been out since before Fantastic Beasts came out. They're trying to create more stuff off it.
J.K. Rowling let it dry herself too,
Yeah, and at least making a new video game that is, supposedly what Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be. We still don't know if it's actually gonna be everything it promises, right? But at least that makes sense because it's different than movies, it's different than books, it's different than media we've seen before. So it's a different way to experience that world. So that makes sense to me why they would go for that. But it's just I'm so annoyed, and I kind of do want everything to fail just so they stop trying to mess with Harry Potter and keep trying to create more things. I want all of their things to fail. Fantastic Beasts already has failed. I think it's pretty clear that, they've already canceled the next Fantastic Beasts movie. it's probably selfish to say I want Hogwarts Legacy to fail as well, but I'm kind of also I just kind of want it all to fail. I want them to stop to stop messing around with Harry Potter. And the only reason they're going to listen is if all this stuff fails. So
I don't disagree with you. Like, it's, it's just one of those things, like, some franchises need to know when to quit,
Seriously. And on top of that, if LGBTQ plus folks feel better about that on top of that, that's just a great big plus. That's what we should be striving for as well. Yeah. I say, why not both? Why not both have the integrity of the fan base and, like, the legacy of Harry Potter remain intact and protect folks who feel, victimized by J.K. Rowling? I think we can have both,
Yep. There's been so much tiptoeing around all of it that it's just like, let's call it, like,
exactly.
So I agree. I agree in that way.
I'm just like, I'm not going to touch the game unless it's amazing, and then maybe I'll get it used far in the future. We'll see. But at this point, I'm like, it's not on my list to buy in this year. It's not on there.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. Yeah. Vote with your wallet. That's the message there.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I will have to see more to know more.
Yeah.
So far,
it does seem
like, sold on it.
It does, exactly. Even if without the drama, without the politics, it still does just look too good to be true.
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like it's potentially going to be awful. But we'll see.
I hope it's one of those reviews or one of those games that, like, the embargo lifts, like, ahead of time, like maybe a week before.
Me too.
Or a few days before.
Idea of what's going on.
Because I'm interested as well, and I do plan on getting it possibly, but it's like if it bombs or if there's just all these things that are wrong with it, I can wait, like. I
think the things that scare me is that they have an incredibly luxurious pre-order bonus. Like, they have a crazy pre-order set, which means they're not very confident the game might sell on its own, potentially. And the creators of this game have not really created many other games that have been wildly successful. Which is, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad game, of course, but it just doesn't mean that they have all this experience that we can trust in, So that's why I'm like, it could be bad. We have no clue. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
We will just have to wait. Please, everybody out there, even if you really want the game, please reconsider pre-ordering. Pre-ordering is probably not the move on this game.
Pre-ordering in general, it's not something I do often unless I know I really want the game. And even then, I wait till like a month or so, or even less than that. I'll wait like the week or two before. Because people are pre-ordering games that don't even have release dates yet. And I'm just like, nope, don't do that.
Yep.
But anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
Totally.
We did that for a Kingdom Hearts game. What was it was one of the big ones that came out, and it took years to do. Probably 3. We pre-ordered it, and then we lost the email, but it was like 4 years later.
Wow.
It's like, we couldn't prove that the pre-order even existed. They're like, oh, we didn't even do a pre-order. And I was like, yes, you did. Promise.
Wow. That's weird that they couldn't even look that up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They had no idea what we're talking about.
Wow. Anyway. Well, we can move on. In some more positive news, Ni no Kuni dev level 5 is possibly looking to get back into the global market. Their global side, or their global division, did shut down, I think, in the last maybe decade or so. But level 5 is known for making Ni no Kuni and Yokai Watch, which Yokai Watch was big on the 3DS, I believe. Or the DS. I don't remember which. But, so they really haven't come out with a lot of games, especially in the US. There has been stuff released in Japan. But now, according to a job listing, it sounds like they are hiring somebody who can speak English and who can translate well and stuff like that. And it has to do with It has to do with rights and stuff like that. So it's like, if they can make stuff and maybe get somebody to publish it overseas or whatever, that's that can do that. It sounds like this is what they want to do, because it's specifically for rights stuff. And so I think that's exciting, because we've gotten ports of the Ni no Kuni games, which are really good. I don't know how well Yokai Watch was, but I think that was another thing that Nintendo seemed like they were trying to do. But I mean, if they want to make more games, like I think they even did some Dragon Quest stuff. Like, if they want to make more games, they are a well-liked developer, and so it would be cool to see them put stuff out in the West again.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hopefully there's something good that'll come out of that. And that's kind of it.
All right, we'll get into movies then. I did not see any movies. I feel like I watched some over Christmas break that I could have used, but I really don't remember seeing anything after Avatar. So,
That's fine.
Go ahead.
I did watch, so I didn't watch any movies this week, but I figure I would mention a few that I did watch over break. I did watch...
Both start with M, which is strange.
Huh?
Both start with M.
Both are complete opposite ends of, like, family friendliness, too. So the first one I'll talk about is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Oh my gosh!
It is.
I have to watch it.
It's such a wholesome movie.
I need to watch it.
So Marcel the Shell is like, I'd never seen like the YouTube videos that this is based off of, but like I know that like my nephew has watched stuff that's like adjacent, like Lucas the Spider and stuff like that, which is like,
oh yeah,
to me it's like adjacent, and
it's
I
very
feel
similar,
like
yeah,
and I feel like I don't know if it's from the similar creators or if it was just a nod, but I feel like the movie might have like a Lucas like Easter egg, because there are these like spiders that have eyes that remind me of Lucas the Spider that are like in the background sometimes. So I don't know if they're like adjacent or they're similar, but I learned some really cool things about that movie. Like apparently the creators of the movie apparently at one point were together and then they like broke up or something. And the guy Jenny Slate does the voice. Her name is. She does the voice for Marcel. But apparently her and like so she's one of the creators. Apparently they had broken up at one point. But then I guess for whatever reason they decided to make this movie, and I think it both like kind of helped them like cope with that relationship kind of thing, or at least like stay friends or something like that. It sounds like. Because it sounds like the creator or like the guy basically like technically plays himself in a weird way. Like, because it's a mockumentary, and so it's the story about how Marcel is trying to find his family and stuff like that, and it's really sweet.
Marcel the Shell.
Yeah, it's great.
That plot reminds me, and I haven't seen it, so for folks who have listened to it, who are listening and watched, it sounds like the Gudetama show. Like, it sounds like a similar plot of like Gudetama, the the little egg mascot. He like is, I guess, trying to find his mom or something. Like, he has a sibling who's a chick, right? Because who's like an actual chick, but he's still an egg. And I guess we're like trying to, I don't know, what some of my friends have been watching and been telling me about it. I haven't actually watched it myself, but the plot just sounds similar, so that's why.
Is that like an anime or something else? Or?
I don't know. I know like Gudetama is like a cartoonish character, so I assume it's a cartoon of some kind, but I don't actually know. I haven't seen it. So.
Okay.
But it's on Netflix, I guess. I've heard it's very wholesome. Okay. So I think it's very similar energy, except it's a show, not a movie.
Oh yeah. Marcel is good. Like, I even tried to find like a physical copy of it, because like movies that I like really like want to watch or I really love, or like I try to get physical copies of, but I don't think there is one. Or there might be like a limited run, because I tried to find one and I couldn't find any online. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna buy this digital, and so I did, and I'm like, yep, I don't regret this at all. Good. This is amazing.
Oh, Marcel the show.
It's so sweet. It's a really good movie. Like, it's not very long either, which is good. But yeah, like, there's not much else I can say. The other movie I watched, I didn't initially plan on watching, but my younger cousin, she wanted to watch it, and she's barely like 12 years old, and I'm like, apparently she wants to watch horror movies, and I'm like, all right. Okay. I'm like, I want to see if you can really, I want to see if you got the guts to really watch this stuff and not have it freak you out, the next day or two, like. Yeah. So I took two of my cousins and we went to see Megan, and it's a PG-13 horror movie. So it's not like the kills are like kind of off screen for the most part, and there's like very minimal There's very minimal gore and stuff, obviously, because it is PG-13. But I'm like, you know what? More horror movies should try to be more creative without having to do the whole gore fest thing.
I agree.
And apparently there is an unrated version of this movie supposedly in the works, or I don't know if it's coming out or what, but I'm like, you know what? Like, we can have PG-13 horror movies. Like, not everything has to be super rated R or, like, gore fests.
Yeah.
But it is very, like, it does not take itself seriously in a lot of ways, like, but, it does and it doesn't. So it's like, if you're looking for something totally stupid, that's like, it is a horror movie, I guess, but it's just, like, it's not that bad at all. Like, it's so silly, it's so dumb, it's so cheesy, like, it wears that on its sleeve, and so I think it's a fun watch. Like, if this shows up on a streaming service later this year, which I assume it would, like, by October, like, it's worth a fun watch, just to, like, laugh at it. Yeah, so, but it's, if, I know people out there do, like, horror movies, you know, like, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It's dumb. Cool. So, yeah, that's all I've watched.
How about you, Shelley?
So, you know me. I'm not really one to watch Oscar bait movies. I usually watch cheesy movies or stupid movies. Like, I'm more for the entertainment value.
See,
rather
I
than
wouldn't call
art.
this movie Oscar bait, because I've heard it's really good, though. Like,
it's Oscar bait, I would say.
Is it?
At least
Okay.
for Cate Blanchett. She's amazing in this movie. So I watched Tar with my husband, and again, like, I don't usually watch, like, I don't even very often watch a lot of just new movies in general. Even though I know we do want to watch the new Puss in Boots, so maybe by next week we'll be able to watch it and talk about that, because that's a movie we want to watch that's still out. But Tar, especially, we were interested in. I guess technically it did come out in 2022. I think it came out in October, but it's on YouTube now. You could just rent it. So we were interested in it because it's a fictional story about a conductor. Of course, my husband is a conductor. He's a band director and music teacher. And I've been in band for most of my life, so I'm very familiar with
y'all can really relate to it.
Exactly, right? It's about music, and it's about this woman who's trying to basically, all you get as the premise is that she is trying to do Mahler's Fifth, which is a very difficult song. I guess I'm not actually familiar with Mahler's Fifth. But for her, it's, like, really significant. It's going to be, like, a capstone in her career, even though she already has, like, 1.5 million accolades. Like, they go over that in the very, very first scene of the movie. Like, she's incredibly talented, has all these accolades. She knows how to do her job. She does it very well. And, yeah, so it's just kind of about her, like, on this next piece. But, my gosh, I did not know where this movie was going. I almost don't want to even talk about it, because that's all the premise I was gathered and got. But I think at the beginning, I didn't entirely know what was going on at the beginning. It kind of, like, you kind of follow her around as what she's doing, and you're kind of, like, gathering an idea of, like, oh, here's the type of person she is. Here's the type of, like, life she lives, etc., etc. Here's kind of how she thinks, whatever, right? Which makes sense. But then, like, and then partway through the movie, I'm like, okay, I think I know where this is going. I think I know what's going to happen. And then I was just totally wrong.
Yeah,
but it's
I've heard that, I mean, based on the TikToks I've seen and stuff like that, because I follow a lot of movie people, I hear that she is not a good person.
Well, see, and you just, like, don't you don't know what the real type of person she is. Like, the beginning, you get an idea of what the type of person she is from in the beginning, but then more and more is revealed about her as the movie goes on. In a very interesting way, in an unexpected way, at least from my perspective.
Yes, the comparison I heard was almost like watching the Joker. Like, it's not a pleasant journey necessarily.
Which I haven't seen the Joker, so I can't necessarily make that comparison. But it's very much focused on her. There's no scenes, I don't think, without her. Like, it is a movie about Tar. Like, her name's Lydia Tar. She's the conductor and composer. She's, like, composing a piece as well. Kind of throughout the movie as well. You kind of see that. It's a really good movie. But I also, laughed thinking, what the heck? Huh?
Yeah.
Like, as it ended, I'm just like, what? So,
see, that's a good reaction to me, though. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good. The acting was super... I mean, again, Cate Blanchett literally just went off. There's, like, one amazing scene in the movie. It happens to be the beginning of the movie. That's just all in one take. Just one super long take. And I love those things. Like, I love it when they're able to just do one long take and there's no cuts in it.
That's awesome.
And, in fact, I think all of the scenes in the movie were really good in the sense of, like, the editing. There's not much editing in the sense of like the focus is usually on her, and it's they tend to be pretty long shots and that sort of thing. So, she goes off. I mean, if anything, I do hope she gets the Oscar because she did a really, really good job.
And that's why I said, I'm like, it sounds like it's genuinely a good movie. Like,
it is a really good movie.
When I think of that term Oscar bait, I think of like, the movies that are trying so hard, yet that they're just nowhere near that level. Like... Yeah,
I know. And so I guess I kind of throw that term around.
But you're not wrong, though, either. Like,
Yeah. It's like... It was really good, though. The only one thing I would say is that there's a lot of music terminology thrown around. Just a lot of it. And if you aren't familiar with music, like performance... like orchestral classical music, you probably will have quite a bit of this movie go over your head. Not like the themes of the movie per se, like you'll still get those things just fine, but you might end up being really confused and be like, what the heck are they talking about? And like, what does this mean? So that's just something to be aware of. And that's why we kind of wanted to watch, was because we want to know like the music aspect of it. But what was crazy is that like the soundtrack of the movie, there is no soundtrack. The only sound that's happening is a sound that's happening in the actual movie, what's actually happening in front of her. Cool. Like, if there's music going on, it's because they're rehearsing, or it's because they're performing. If there's a sound you hear, that's because, like, it's something that the character hears, and, like, it's silent besides that. So that I thought was very cool. Like, their sound editing was incredible. Incredible sound editing in this movie. So that was awesome. But what else was I going to say? I don't remember what else I was going to say. Just really good movie. Just be considerate. If you don't know any music terminology, I think you can still watch this movie. Just be prepared to be a little bit confused. You'll get around to it. It'll be fine. But yeah, the ending just... I won't talk about the ending. The ending...
I'll probably wait for this
made
to show
me
up on
lose
a
my
streaming
mind.
service.
Yeah.
I lost my mind. And anyone who's seen it probably knows what I'm talking about. So...
See, that alone tells me I should watch it.
I think you should watch it, LJ. I think you should watch it, and then we could talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll probably wait for a streaming service, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, that's fine. And I would think it's going to be... I mean, we rented it on YouTube. So I'm sure it's going to be on some streaming service eventually. I just don't know which one it would be on. But I do recommend it. It was very good. The other thing I guess I will mention, it is rated R. Mostly for language. There is little nudity, but there is some nudity. It's not really in a sexual way, though. It's just like you see a naked person kind of thing, right? So just be aware of that. Again, for the content warning there. But yeah, it's really good.
That's what I hear.
So I've talked enough.
Cool.
We can talk about movie news, I suppose.
Yeah, I was like, you're talking more.
Yeah, cool.
No,
You're
good,
right.
though.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Floor is yours, Shelley.
Yeah, okay. The movie news today is pretty... I don't know. It's not anything crazy. We don't have any trailers to, geek out about or anything like that. We just have, first off, the Borderlands movie, which is still happening, by the way, because I definitely forgot about it. It's been a while since we talked about the Borderlands movie. Basically, they're doing reshoots right now. So, the Deadpool director, Josh Whedon, right? Or is it not Josh? No.
No,
that was the Deadpool director.
That was a Justice League joke that Cody made earlier.
Yeah.
I thought that was him, though.
No.
Oh, Tim Miller. My bad.
No.
So basically, Tim Miller is not the director for Borderlands, but he is basically stepping in as director for reshoots because Eli Roth, who is the director for the movie, I think he's busy. He's doing like other stuff. I think he's making another movie.
In the first place.
Yeah. So and basically, Tim Miller is basically stepping in to be pseudo director while they're doing these reshoots. And I mean, I'm almost positive every movie goes through reshoots. Like I'm sure many of them do, right? I'm sure more than we know about. They probably turn out perfectly amazing, right? But I always get nervous hearing about reshoots, at least under a different director or under a different team or under different circumstances. I don't know. That always makes me a little bit nervous because I don't know. Like, what? It's a different director. That makes me kind of nervous because what if they, conflate with and have conflict with the original vision from the original director? But I don't know. I mean, the Deadpool movies are pretty good though, so maybe it's fine. And I feel like Deadpool is gonna have very similar energy to Borderlands, I would think. So so maybe it's fine.
Yeah. I just think that should have been the first choice initially. Like
that, yeah.
Eli Roth is like he's a horror movie guy, like so I don't know, like.
Yep.
It'll be weird if they're just like, we need to make this funnier, and then they just inject humor into a dark, gritty movie.
Yep.
I doubt that's what's happening, but I have a little more faith.
Yeah.
Not much.
I don't know. I hope the Borderlands movie is good. I feel like every time there's a video game movie that comes out, I'm always like, I hope it's good. It's usually not. But I feel like Borderlands actually has kind of a chance because I don't know if they're necessarily trying to do the original story of the Borderlands like the first game, but I feel like it should be stylized enough. It'll be entertaining enough. They're
taking some heavy liberties.
Yeah, okay. Just with the humor of the original games, right? I feel like they probably they'll probably have a good chance of making a good movie. Is all I'll say. Because I feel like a lot of video game movies falter because they end up being too serious.
Kevin Hart's character is a big soldier dude in the video games, so I'm hoping they make a joke about that or something.
Yeah, they probably will. And like Claptrap will be in there.
Their casting choice is a little weird.
Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, right? I saw that.
She fits, but it's just like the characters and like the cast that they're choosing is kind of weird. Like, at least from a perspective since I did play Borderlands, like the original. So it's like, we'll have to see though. I'm reserving judgment until it comes out. So.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's the thing. I don't really know what more to say about that. It's all just like, hey, this is where we're at with the Borderlands movie. So, cool.
Reshoots are always weird.
The other thing that I think will be a little bit more of a talking point is that James Gunn has met with Matt Reeves about the Batman. Matt Reeves being the Batman's director. Robert Pattinson, if you will. Talking about the future of the DC universe and the Batman potentially what Robert Pattinson will be for the DC universe. I don't like saying these things out loud because I don't want them to make a mistake. I don't know. I'm as much as I would like, a sequel to the Batman, I think they could very much do that. I don't want them to just all of a sudden throw in like all these other things, and I'm so tired of universes, man. I think that's all. I think I'm just tired of it. Like Marvel really burnt me out on it. And I think they're already. The bad news though is I think they are making a show for the Penguin, which I'm like, so like they're just already creating more content with this. Maybe they'll want to throw them into the.
But I think
universe.
that directly leads into the second movie.
Yeah, so there was a recent news piece that said that I think it intentionally is supposed to direct into, move into the second one.
Okay.
Universe building necessarily.
Yeah.
But still,
I imagine they could probably make it work that you don't have to watch the show.
Right, and that's why I think it should be in addition instead of required viewing.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree, but I'm just scared that they're gonna do more.
I like Pattinson. I think a lot of people do like Pattinson, and I think that they could make it work within the DCU, but I don't think that would necessarily be the DCU's. I don't think it's what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think you're
Batman,
right.
Matt Reeves' Batman is very artistic, and they did the artistic thing very well. And I would assume, going off of what James Gunn has done in the past, that he wants to be very comic accurate.
Yes.
And although Pattinson, I think, does a really comic accurate Batman, we've seen the Joker at least a little bit in a deleted scene, and that Joker doesn't feel like the comic book Joker. I think
even Riddler isn't that.
Yeah. I think that if you're wanting something that's a little bit more comic accurate, and I think that's what's going to be successful for the DCU, is being basically just the Justice League animated TV show, the movie, then Pattinson's not the right choice. Although it would be fun to see him interact with Superman and everyone else.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's the goals and the integrity of the movie versus the goals and integrity of the universe that I think would be really conflicting. I think, again, like, the reason Marvel worked so well for so long as it did, was because I think they already had that vision from the get-go. They already had, like, these sort of pieces they're introducing to us, these characters they're introducing to us, movie by movie, with the intention of, oh yeah, this is all going to culminate to a big point in which that became the Avengers, and obviously they built off that, and then eventually they, did Infinity War and Endgame, and now they're kind of trying to figure out where to find their footing after that. But I think that worked really well up until Infinity War and Endgame, because they always had that vision, the same kind of and like obviously every movie was a little different, every character was a little bit different, but they had the same through line vision of like kind of what they wanted Marvel to look like, something that is like, kind of fun, entertaining, kind of funny, but has some serious moments, right? Yeah. Whereas like the Batman has just such different energy than like Suicide Squad, for example, right? And Aquaman and Wonder Woman, if they wanted to bring her back, right? Like, it's the goal he had with the Batman was something that was artsy, and obviously it wasn't supposed to be about even really just Batman introducing Batman as a character, right? It was like he was already an established guy. We're just seeing him work through this struggle with the Riddler. That's really interesting, and just sort of taking a different look at Batman. And I just don't think that Batman is going to complement well with the rest of the universe, because the rest of the universe is still introducing characters. It still has kind of the same energy going about it. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. I just think it would clash too much. I think it would also tarnish the vision of the original Batman movie, because I just don't think it would work. I don't know how else
I want Mr. Freeze, because then you could take that red tone and that dark tone and like blue it up and have a whole new artistic feel for a sequel.
That would be cool.
Oh, yeah, yes. Definitely. I want Matt Reeves as like Mr. Freeze. That would be awesome. Yeah.
We need... I can never remember his name, but he's such an amazing actor. He was in Kaleidoscope.
Oh, I need to watch that too.
There's another show that I watched we didn't talk about because I watch so many shows, it's ridiculous.
We're not in TV yet either.
Yeah. What's his name?
Yeah.
Plays Moff Gideon.
Giancarlo?
Is that his name?
I met him. Giancarlo Esposito. I met him.
Esposito. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would make a great Mr. Freeze. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get out.
He's tired of playing villains, he says, though.
I know. And he should not be so good at it. He would make a great Mr. Freeze.
Giancarlo for Professor X. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? And that's been a thing. That's become a joke that, and I'm totally down with it, that all of the villains in Marvel movies need to be the heroes in DC movies, actor-wise. And then all of the heroes can play villains in DC. I'm so down.
Yeah.
But he would make a great Mr. Freeze.
He would.
Mm-hmm.
He's got so much emotion. Anyways. Tangent.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to join the two universes by any means.
They just, I don't, they can't. It wouldn't be a good move.
Yeah. Give me so dark it's funny Batman in the DCU. That's what I want. All right, we will get into the TV then. Guys, I watch so much TV. Kaleidoscope's another one. I don't even know where to start with Kaleidoscope. I'm going to be real quick on Kaleidoscope.
So did you watch it in a specific order?
No, we were random.
Random? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go random.
I'm going to say this, though. We watched it in random order, and we watched Pink second, and they all have a chronological... People have no idea what I'm talking about. Kaleidoscope is a Netflix show.
No, I think people
that you supposedly can watch in any order.
It's gone kind of viral.
And it'll make sense.
Yeah.
I would suggest, even though you're supposed to watch White last, that you would watch White and then Pink last. Because Pink is the last chronologically, and we watched it second, and watching it that early, you really don't understand the importance of anything that's happening in that episode.
Hmm.
So that would be my suggestion.
What if
we
you
didn't even watch it in the release order that it gave us?
What if you watch Pink first?
It would be really confusing. That was one thing. So, Kaleidoscope, I wasn't going to talk about Kaleidoscope at all because I forgot about it. I love the concept and I love the show as is. I don't think it's as creative as it wanted to be. I think it would have been cooler if nothing was chronological and you could have watched everything in any order and it would have just made sense because they all were kind of standalone filler episodes, which I think is totally possible to do. So, in Kaleidoscope, every episode has a date on it. You know when it happened in alignment to the heist, the big heist that happens. And so you have to watch White last, they say. Like I said, I would suggest White and then Pink. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of fun. It's a good show. I don't know. There's a lot of different orders you could watch it. I would look at a suggested order and not necessarily do it chronologically. I think that's kind of boring. But watch it in an order that is suggested by IGN or Netflix or something, because Netflix had a few of them too. I'm pretty sure.
Netflix has been saying offering a bunch of different orders.
Mm-hmm. We watched it very random and it was cool. We ended up on accident watching the very first episode chronologically and then the very last episode chronologically, and then we jumped back to I think the second episode chronologically, and then we started getting a little bit more mixed up. We weren't doing it on purpose. We were just picking colors.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I hear if you just hit play, that it randomizes it for you.
Yeah, it doesn't randomize it for you like that when you hit play. What it does is the order that you get the episodes in is random.
Oh, gotcha. So
your episode 1 will be different.
Kind of like when they messed with me with Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm picking up what they're putting down. Okay.
Yeah. It's not as clever as it wants to be, but it's pretty cool, and the story is great. You will enjoy it just as a show. I think you could watch it chronologically and enjoy it just as much as I did.
Interesting.
We'll go down the line here. We'll talk Last of Us last because I know that'll kind of segue into you, LJ.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode of Limitless, which is really good. That is
the Chris Hemsworth thing?
Chris Hemsworth, yeah. Doing basically, he's wanting to prolong his life. He kind of states at the beginning of it, which is really interesting knowing the genetic stuff that we found out about his Alzheimer's that he doesn't have yet.
Right.
Will probably have in the future. The whole show was based off of, according to the first episode, him trying to make himself live longer, go past his limits, and be the best him that he can be, basically. So the very first episode that I watched was about stress, and it was just him trying to understand how to be less stressed, which really sets up the rest of the show, because he's going to do a bunch of stressful things throughout the rest of the show. But it was interesting. I liked learning about all the different things that he's using to cope with his stress, and he was getting experts involved to really teach him how to better take control of his stress.
That's
good.
Like that.
I need that.
Yeah.
It's not really what I thought the show would be. I figured it would just be these daring stunts that he was doing for entertainment value.
You only live once. Let's go jump off something.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise style.
That's kind of what I figured. It's got a deeper meaning. Yeah. It's cool.
Cool.
There's
I like
reasons
that.
behind the reasons that he's doing stuff. So
that's awesome.
That's good.
I've only watched the first episode, like I said. I just finished it a little while ago. Vikings Valhalla. Only watched the first episode of that as well. I'm probably going to stay short on that because I have so many of these shows, and I'll probably watch a lot more and have a better opinion later on. But Vikings Valhalla is more Vikings Valhalla. If you like the first season, you'll like this so far. It still does not feel to the grade that the original Vikings was, but it's good.
Yeah, because it's like, how do you follow that up? You know,
yeah, it's kind of a better than nothing situation for me. I'm watching it because I have no other cool Vikings Last Kingdom stuff to watch. So
yeah,
it'll work. And then Bad Batch season 2, I saw some reviews that were saying that it is not found itself and that people aren't really liking it, but I really enjoyed what's come out so far. There have been 3 episodes. And again, I don't know anything about Clone Wars, so maybe that's why I'm enjoying it, because it's kind of separating itself from the Clone Wars show. It's becoming its own entity. And I think people just want that sequel and are tied to that sequel feeling the first season had.
Right.
It just felt like a sequel to Clone Wars. And so I kind of like that they're getting away from all of that. I'd rather cameos from things that I
because like
understand,
Clone
obviously.
Wars almost felt like that last season they did almost felt like a marketing strategy for the Bad Batch show, kind of a way.
Yeah. It's one thing that's interesting to me is I got this from Andor. I didn't realize how deep the Separatists and New Republic stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and watch the first 3 movies, like episode 1, 2, and 3, because I apparently didn't understand the politics at all until I watched Andor.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew in this they have something with the Separatists happen. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, I had no idea that Dooku was part of the Separatists at all.
Yeah.
Like, I was completely clueless in that.
That's funny.
So, yeah, I need to go back and watch those movies. I think that maybe I'll have a better appreciation
because that was
for
the
them,
whole
maybe.
part of that was the whole part of the overall like scheme.
But yeah,
Was,
I think I was young enough that to me Dooku was just the bad guy. That was that, and I was like, okay. Like, I wasn't really watching for the politics of the show at all. And Andor made me really care about the politics a lot more. And now Bad Batch does too. Mandalorian does. All that stuff that you see the people kind of living in the aftermath of these wars.
Yeah.
That makes the politics interesting to me.
I just realized Mandalorian, the new season, is doing March. I think.
Yes.
March 1st.
So we're gonna get the last few episodes of The Last of Us, and then the Mandalorian, and like,
sheesh.
that's gonna be a lot of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I'm down for it though.
Being
I'm
a
here for
dad.
it. Yeah.
Always.
That's true.
We can go
Very different types of fathers, but you know.
LJ, Last of Us, first episode came out.
So it's really interesting. So I'm also like on my own channel. I've also started streaming part 1. I think I mentioned last week that I was playing it. So what I like about this show is that like it stayed true, like a lot closer than I think I expected.
Yeah,
But
lots of shot for shots.
Also, I love the cast in this. Like, the cast just is done really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how it's a diverse cast. Like, and it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, we're gonna change the race of these people just because we can. You know, like it's like no, like it's all like it doesn't. It's like the race or ethnicity of the characters like doesn't even matter. You know, like it's just which I love. The actress that plays his daughter for that opening scene, for those who are familiar with Last of Us, she did awesome. I was like,
phenomenal.
Just for that, yeah, she
to make
did
you
awesome.
care about a character in such a short amount of time.
And let me just say that scene was probably 100 times more difficult to watch than it was playing through it again in the video game most recently.
Really?
That dread of knowing what was coming hit me even worse.
Oh no!
Than, like, yeah, I'm just like, there's that point when they get in the truck. I mean, I guess the game itself has been out, so I don't know that anything I'm saying is a spoiler. But there's that part when they get in that truck to leave, when I felt myself starting to like tear up because I'm like, I know what's gonna happen.
Oh,
like I'm just like.
Relatively safely, because there's gonna be a lot of people that play it for the first time because of the show. I think.
Yes, well,
But
yeah, that too. So
getting in the truck and knowing that this show starts off with a tragedy.
that's being
common
vague enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I was just like, oh no, like, because I was talking about that last week and I was playing it. Like, I was like, you know, guys, we're gonna have to go through this scene again. You know, like in live action.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless, like the liberties that they do take, I think are very interesting. I feel like we're getting more of Joel as a person because I notice a thing that they're doing here. They're taking things that don't work as well in a show that worked better in a video game, and you're getting to see more of Joel as a person because Joel is technically supposed to be you, the player, so you're inserting yourself into his shoes when you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
But they're taking liberties and giving him. They're making him a more of a person, and like they're showing more of his struggles.
Yeah,
and I
very
think that is
ways
really...
too. I saw a thing. He doesn't crouch as much in the show because someone who would crouch for hours on end would have quads of steel. Something the director had
But
said.
even that, like, it's just like, and it's little things too. That I'm like, oh wow, like they're really adding personality to this character. That, like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Joel didn't have much of a personality anyway. You know, like,
Yeah.
I know there's some people that would probably, especially because of part 2. I know that's a beloved character and all, but come on, like, let's be real. You know, like, but oh my gosh, Bella Ramsey, amazing. She's amazing as Ellie. Like, she's just like spot on. I like it though. Like, it's kind of crazy to think that, like, the video game show that came out last year, like Halo, I watched one episode and I was like, I'm not touching this again. But Last of Us, it's like, I can't wait for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's doing so much to be faithful to the video game. Me and my wife were talking about, do we consider it canon? Is it adding to what the video game has, or is it a separate thing? And I think that it's a separate thing, but it's so close to the game in specific shots that you almost go, oh, maybe it is just a continuation. Maybe it is adding context to the game. And I'm sure they'll never actually answer that outright.
Yep.
I
Because
feel
was
like
things,
this show is going to do that.
There's things you see Joel doing that you don't ever see him do in the game, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess he maybe could do this, or but I just wouldn't know.
Nothing has broken the canon yet.
Yep. Nothing. Yeah.
It feels like Last of Us, down to the color grading, the way that they color grade some of the scenes, right? Which I don't know. I've started to notice that a lot more in shows. Just the way I think Snyder Cut really made me look at like filters.
Yep. Well, that's why I mentioned like the Batman. If they want to change the tone of the Batman, do Mr. Freeze and go with your blues. You know, like. So, but and then the last scene of the, like, when they do that panning thing, for me that goes, okay, here's the video game part. Here's where they start traveling and go through this building. Yeah. Like, so I'm guessing like maybe next week we'll see them like maybe at the other end of that or inside that or whatever. Like. Because we may not see that journey that you would probably experience in the video game. Like, we may see we may see some of that, but I guarantee, like, they're not going to spend all this time in some building that you would have to be sneaking through or going through in a video game. So
something
I'm
will
excited
replace
to
that
see,
gameplay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I'm excited to see if they just pop us out at the other end next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
If you want to check it out, if you played The Last of Us, I think you'll love it. Be aware if you haven't played the game that it is dark and it can be a little spooky from time to time. It was definitely suspenseful, which the game did as well. It was always kind of had you on edge a little bit. So if you haven't played the game, you may want to be prepared for that. It is definitely have a horror element to it.
I'm trying to get my parents to watch it, and I've almost been kind of annoying about it. I'm like, hey, Last of Us comes out next week, like, like, because I know that, like, my stepdad, like, I know there's members of my family, like my step siblings. I'm like, hey, it's coming out tonight. Y'all gotta watch The Last of Us tonight, because they like HBO, like they have HBO Max and they watch like Game of Thrones and stuff. So I'm like, hey, you guys like Walking Dead? Like, you should watch this thing. Like, it's based on one of my favorite video games. Go watch it. Like, I promise you, it's gonna be good. Like.
I don't think I've ever seen anything respect the source material as much as Last of Us is doing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep, I agree.
Cool. Damn. LJ, what else are you watching?
I've just been going back through the X-Men 90s cartoon because apparently they did fix, I guess there was some order issue or something wrong with like the way they had some of the episodes. But I'm also watching it in preparation for X-Men 97, if that does drop this year, which it sounds like it's going to. And then also, like, I just bought this sweet, like, Cyclops jacket right out of the cartoon the other day online, and so, like, it got me wanting to watch X-Men again. Like, it's literally, like, Cyclops' jacket from the cartoon that has the, like, X logos on the side. And I'm just like, oh, I want to go back and watch the X-Men. So that's been fun watching through that again. And just realizing how deep that show was, like, I'm like, oh dang, this is a kids show. This has heavy themes, like. So that's been exciting to go through. But I don't have much else to say other than that.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, then we will get into the TV news. And the first thing we're going to talk about is something we actually had to stop the podcast a second for because it came out while we were recording. And that is Mandalorian Season 3. Got a new trailer today during football, I believe.
We couldn't have planned that kind of segue at all.
Yeah.
This thing's always happened to us too. It's always Monday nights.
That,
Yeah,
Really
Monday
big
night's
trailers
Wednesday, so
drop.
that means my
trailers.
stepdad probably saw it. I can't wait to see what he has to say about it. I know they're watching the football game, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks so good. It looks bigger than the last few seasons.
It looks like it's finally going to be what everyone thought the Mandalorian was going to be originally.
We can
before the show
literally
came
write a
out.
Bible
Yeah.
study on like on the thing he says in that trailer. Like,
Oh, I know,
This is
that's
the way?
true. But
no, the whole
Um,
being like he wants to be forgiven
Yeah.
For his
for his
Transgressions, yeah.
transgressions and all that. Yeah.
but yeah, I feel
You have
like
to go
a
to
lot
your
of
home
people.
planet.
Yeah, a lot of people originally, before the Mandalorian even came out, we all thought it was going to be like, this bounty hunting kind of like, and we're going to maybe get more insight into Mandalore and the Mandalorians in general. And then the first two seasons were definitely not that. I mean, maybe a little bit, but definitely not season 1. We got something
They
else
were the
entirely,
Last
which is
of Us.
also amazing. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
and then the stuff that happened in Book of Boba Fett, I think, threw me off at least. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect the things that took place in that to like happen. So it does
That's
feel kind of
true.
weird that they're
Best part of the show.
yeah.
It's
So it
Mandalorian
does
stuff.
feel a little weird that all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, like are we gonna go back or like
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know.
It kind of looks like he's creating a militia of Mandalorians.
Yeah,
There was a bunch of them.
yeah.
That part's good. And then what's with the lights? What's with all the Jedis?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
too.
know. That's what I'm like. What?
Because this would have been.
And then
This
And
is
what's
after episode 6, right? So Luke is the
Yes.
only Jedi that we know
Yeah.
of.
Yes.
Well,
I'm like, what's
and Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's around, but
She's-
she's not really
I
She's not
Jedi.
a
wonder,
Jedi.
and then I wonder if Appa Kim opened a convenience store in the galaxy. I'm just like,
So,
oh,
yeah,
I
there's
love
no
seeing
reason
that.
for there to be that many, unless they're all students.
Yeah, I mean, Grogu was probably.
Yeah, so maybe he's a bunch of his students. That's kind of scary.
Yeah. I have
They're
no
just-
idea. I'm excited because like that trailer didn't say much, but also it left us asking questions. So it's like I'm like good questions. So we'll have to see. I'm excited.
Cool. I'm glad that we got to talk about that. We did what a week.
Yeah. I think the last time that
pretty
happened
nice.
was like the Spider-Man trailer or something like that.
Yeah, we debated. We're like, should we? We have to.
Yeah.
And then I promised at the top of the show, we'll talk about the news first. So Paramount has picked up a Dungeons and Dragons TV show, and this is after. What is it? Army? It's not Army of Thieves. That's a totally different movie.
Honor Among
Not
Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. That's a video game.
It's literally called Honor Among Thieves, which
Honor
is
Among Thieves.
That's why.
like literally a title that's not original at all.
Yeah.
The Dungeons and Dragons TV show will be years away. It's just now got picked up, so it'll probably take a while. We have no idea if it's canon to Honor Among Thieves or if it's a totally separate thing. I would assume it's something totally different.
We don't know what can be canon anymore these days at this point.
I feel like the worst thing you could do with Dungeons and Dragons is make an in-canon universe. Like, that just seems so against Dungeons and Dragons as a purpose. Is like everyone gets to make their own story.
Well, it also is against.
Yeah, that was a segue. That was a segue, Shelley.
It also is against that is guidelines.
Yeah.
So like I'm saying, I feel like D&D is for everyone something different.
Mm.
Everyone kind of makes it their own, and it's branched out so many different ways. I think that being like, this is specifically what D&D has to be in a shared universe or in people's games and stuff would be counter what people love about D&D.
Yeah, it's there's this whole thing going on with Wizards of the Coast right now. I don't know if everyone knows about
Who
it.
are the
but
owners
basically-
of D&D, right?
Yes, so they
Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, I believe.
yes, yeah. Where they basically are trying to restrict what can be like modules, things that can be used, made third party, trying to restrict people from making money off of like own creations or own content even, for anything sort of like Dungeons and Dragons related. They're basically trying to just lock all that crap down, making it really hard for creative people, for creators, for third party people, for, you know, again, content creators trying to create that content, because as you said, it's a game that forces creativity, if you will. It asks that of you, and so obviously in that way it draws creative people. But if those creative people basically are saying, hey, no, you can't actually like be really creative, you can't create your own homebrew, you can't create your own things that you can make money off of, can't create your own, I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily going as so far as being like, oh, you can't create your own dice, but they're basically trying to kind of like trademark a bunch of this stuff, or at least lock it down.
And that's the kind of stuff that affected like Pathfinder even, right? And Pathfinder's like huge. Yeah, so the whole community is really mad about it, as they should be. And it's basically what they're trying to do. What it seems like is, even with this movie, you know, Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, this new Dungeons and Dragons show, they're trying to turn Dungeons and Dragons into a brand. Dungeons and Dragons is not a brand. It's a tabletop RPG. It's a framework to creating stories, characters, scenarios. That's the that has a set of rules. Good way to put it. Yeah, and so they're trying to be greedy. They're trying to make it into a brand, but what they don't realize is that's never really been a brand. People don't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people play a lot of the modules and stuff that they've created. But most people, I would go so far as say most people don't. Most people mostly use it as that framework. They buy the rule book, and then they create their own story off of that and their own things and their own world, right? At least that's how I've always played D&D with my friends. Is we have like these homebrew worlds. Yeah. And obviously, there's no shame if you do follow a module or something that is from them specifically. A lot of people Curse
still
of Strahd
do that.
is easily the best module.
Curse of Strahd. Yep. That's huge. That's a huge one. But they're just trying to make it into a brand, and they're trying to lock it down, and they simply cannot do that because the fan base won't let them, and because they just have a gross misunderstanding of why people play D&D. They don't play it because they want to know all about the like stuff Wizards of the Coast made, right? Like those worlds and stuff. Like they don't do it for that. They play it for their own enjoyment, for the way that they want to play it. So, and already they've been trying to basically. It was this agreement that was like an open game license, OGL, that was developed a while ago, actually, basically originally saying like, hey, people are free to use this, right? People are free to use this. They can create content off of it. They could create ideas off of it. They don't, that sort of thing. It makes it easy for third-party developers to work with D&D concepts, D&D rules, and be able to create new rules, new modules, new homebrew things. Content, again, even like Critical Role, for example, they make tons of money off of playing Dungeons and Dragons. So they're able to do that because of this agreement that was made a while ago. And this agreement, by the way, specified that it's irrevocable. They're trying to revoke it. They made something that was in the agreement said it was irrevocable. They're trying to revoke it. They're trying to change
fail, if you ask me.
Well, okay, don't even get me started on that, because basically enough people, this got leaked. It wasn't even out yet. It got leaked. And enough people were really, really mad about it. They started dropping their D&D Beyond subscriptions, because that's the other thing is like they're trying to get people to use only their stuff. Like D&D Beyond is a super duper helpful website. Being able to keep all your characters there.
I mean, you can even use stuff like Roll20 exist and all that if you can't do this,
Well, like, Roll20 has apparently an agreement with Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast, one of the two.
God, they did partner up with them in like the last year. You're right.
But
that's dirty.
Websites like Roll20 that don't have that agreement with Wizards of the Coast would essentially be threatened to get shut down. So yeah, this got leaked. Community went berserk. For good reason.
There's
a lot of them started dropping their subscriptions.
That do their D&D campaigns.
Yeah, that are like making money. A lot of them are.
Like, I'll give you an example. My buddy ran a campaign last year that the source material used was created by a company called Magehand that he literally purchased the resources from. And it was this whole sci-fi campaign thing that was like amazing because, like, you know, they got to use that framework, and it's like
Exactly.
with this being a thing, like, that could never exist, or anything like that could no longer exist.
Yeah,
Critical
seriously.
Role is probably big enough now that they
It's
can
huge.
probably get rights if they tried to, but where they started, they couldn't have
Oh
probably
no, definitely not.
gotten
Yeah.
those rights. Vox
It's also
Machina
crazy.
is a show based off of D&D. Would that get shut down under this?
Right, basically, you know? So, basically, it's one of those things where they're trying to lock this down. It's pretty much impossible to lock down, though, because so many different games and media and people have, like... Even I think about, like, Knights of the Old Republic. That's essentially D&D, right?
All the books and
All the
things,
books.
like,
I've so much, literally so much. It drives creativity, so people create, right?
Gosh, BioWare literally started at Baldur's Gate and went to go make their own stuff based. Like, there's so many games that use that hidden tabletop mechanic that, like, you don't visually see, that is just like, oh my gosh.
We even mentioned before with podcasts of any original sin 2 or Divisions, either one, right? I just think about the second one. So again, people got mad. People started revoking their subscriptions. Again, using, you know, trying to vote with their wallet, saying like, "Hey guys, this is so clearly just for them to try to make more money. Money is the only way that we're gonna show them like that we don't like this." And so they actually enough subscriptions were removed. Right? They got enough people talking that they actually released a announcement. They like basically said that they're trying to walk it back a little bit. The things that they said in this announcement that they posted on their website is that the reason that they wanted to implement this was to keep themselves safe from racist creations, campaigns, creators, things like that. They don't want D&D, the title, to be tied to like bigotry. Which I guess makes sense. I think that was one of the reasons. I don't remember all the other reasons, but like that was like the main one that they're trying to do. They're just like, hey guys, we're just trying to lock things down because we don't want to be associated with bigots. We don't want to be associated with people who are using this to create hate, to, you know, whatever. But I'm like, okay, cool. Two things about that. One, who do you really have the authority to say what's racist and what's not?
Right, because didn't they even like make character changes or something with like racial traits or something like that?
That's exactly that's exactly what I was going to talk about. The second point too is that in 2022, so this last year, there was this whole controversy where they tried to bring basically a module that was from the 80s or something. They tried to like bring it back, and one of the races in this module ended up being pretty racist. Just like the way that they described these races, like they were like monkeys that became sentient off of being like enslaved and being experimented on.
Eesh.
And it's just you read into it and you think maybe from a and I remember even when I heard about this, I'm like, okay, really? And I thought, you know, I'm not sure really if this is racist. And then I started reading it, and, like the actual like document with all of the information on this race, and I thought, and as I was reading, I'm like, oh no, this is racist. This legitimately is. Like, it's actually really bad.
And then they tried to walk that back too.
They tried to walk that back too. I think they did end up getting rid of it, but again, that's like, okay, Wizards of the Coast, you've already got yourself in hot water before, so like, who are you to gatekeep what's racist and what's not, because already you've gone too far in that realm, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly blind. You kind of touched on this too. I think it's incredibly blind of them as to what made D&D big in the first place.
Yes.
Like, closing D&D into a box is going to make it less popular.
Correct.
Like, what made it big was that everyone could use it, and so everyone was using it because there's so much you could do with it. You likened it to Nintendo before the podcast. You know, Smash Bros. The reason that Smash Bros. Is such a big thing is because it's competitive. So then when you shut down competitions... it
it's
kind
like,
of
okay,
defeats
cool, you're killing
what
the game.
made that game big to people in the first place. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yep,
exactly.
Is kind of a similar situation with this. Of if you make it where it's just D&D has to be this specific thing, then no one's going to care about it as much anymore because no one cares about the name. They care about what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's very akin to Nintendo, not just in Smash, but I think with other things too. Like a lot of like custom creations, like
Mods,
indie dev games.
Game preservation in itself.
they just shut that stuff down. They see a fan-made game and they say, even if you're not making money off of it, you're not allowed to do this because you're using our assets, you're using whatever.
While
again,
Sega
maybe
just doesn't care, you know.
Yeah,
Sega
and maybe
hires
they even have that same sort of like, they would say the same thing of like, oh, we don't want to be associated with like hate, we wouldn't want to be associated with like bad creators. It's like, okay, but now you're just shutting down every creator, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there will always be bad
apples. You create non-racist stuff and just let it be, or whatever, you know.
Right.
You create what you have deemed to be the proper creation, and then let other people create things. And if it's not D&D official, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Right. So it's just a big, bad, greedy corporation being big, bad, greedy. And the other thing, Lj, when you mentioned like rolling a 1, that made me cringe because in this announcement, they made a joke like that. Basically, they explain they're just like the whole thing where it's like, oh, we don't want to be associated with racists, we don't want to be associated with homophobia, things like that, right? Wow. And then eventually said, but clearly we rolled a nat 1 on persuasion or something like that. And it's just like, guys, read the room. It is not appropriate to be making a joke like that. No. Like, we are legitimately mad, and you're making a stupid D&G joke that's like already kind of cringy, like in the best of times, but just like bad taste in the worst of times.
Ouch.
Yeah, they're like, they thought they were so funny, and we're like, no, we're not being chummy with you right now, freaking Wizards of the Coast. We're being the opposite of that. We're being upset with you. So, all that being said, yeah, already I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to watch...
That's like failing 2 death saves right there.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I'm going to be watching Honor Among Thieves, because I'm also kind of on the train of like, let's maybe speak with our wallets if we want, because I do think that they are making these decisions now because, again, they are trying to make it into a brand. They're trying to make this movie really big so they can make a lot of money. They're trying to make this show make them a lot of money. That's going to be coming on Paramount. So I again, they're trying to like
tie it all back.
They're trying to make it a brand, and it's not going to work. So, a lot of people are quitting Dungeons & Dragons altogether, which personally I think is a little bit much, especially if you don't use D&D Beyond or
I mean,
a lot of people just own the books.
Sure, go ahead and quit that maybe.
Yeah, I think I think for me it's like I'm not going to put more money into them than I already have been. Like I do, me and some friends share a D&D Beyond account. So like, which already is kind of exploiting them because they only want one person on each account. And it's like, I don't remember how much it is per month, but there's like probably 10 or so of us who like use the same account. So I'm like, I'm fine continuing that. That's fine. But it's like, if you're already on the books, plus you can just find the PDFs online. Like you can, okay? You just can.
Yep.
So, I see no reason to completely drop the entire system, but
there's so many resources online without having to use Beyond.
Exactly, and there is like a really good opportunity here to check out other tabletop RPGs, and that's kind of something I would like to do more as well. Is already try to support other tabletop RPGs. I know Kobold Press is making their own, I believe, as well. I know like the creators of Pathfinder have basically like doubled down and said like, hey, by the way, like we're making sure all of our stuff is open source. We're making sure all of our stuff is accessible basically as a heck you to OGL and Wizards of the Coast. So that's cool. Like seeing the community come together in that sense has been really cool. Like, not just the whole like, I mean, the raging against the machine is like, you know, fun to a point, but it can get exhausting, especially when you have people try to tell you like, I'll see posts on comments on Reddit saying like, oh, I need to convince my brother to drop his subscription. I'm like, okay, well, don't do that, all right? Like, everyone makes their own decisions. Like, don't, whatever. But if you want to go explore other tabletop RPGs, that's very cool. So I fully am in support of that, and it's something I'm potentially interested in as well. I mean, I still am in 2 D&D campaigns. I will definitely continue those. But again, it's kind of a cool opportunity to be like, hey, Dungeons & Dragons is not the only tabletop RPG. It is maybe the most popular one, and it helps start all the others, potentially. There's a lot of other stuff besides it, and you could turn to those, so.
I think it's just kind of cool. Like, if it wasn't for the pandemic, like, I wouldn't have cared, or I wouldn't have, like, you know, all of this would be, like, over my head, you know? But it's kind of cool. Like, just in the last couple of years, so many people have probably gotten into D&D. Like, it's not just me. You know, like...
Okay, but also that's a good point, because bring up COVID, a lot of people, myself included, played just with the books, with pen and paper, like meeting in person, right? A lot of people were able to pick up like D&D Beyond, Roll20 exclusively
Online.
because of COVID, and now people are used to that, and you know, including me, including my group that I play with, like we don't meet in person anymore, and that started because of the pandemic. So that makes it even extra grimy that they're trying to like, you know, they've eased all these people into the comfort of being able to play on, and the accessibility of being able to play online, and are now saying like, well, now this is the only way to do it, guys. Like, you can only do it the way we want you to do it. Big Nintendo.
They literally got that thing called like One D&D or D&D One. That's supposed to be a subscription based thing too.
Yes, and that is, I think, another reason they're doing this all now. It's like a trifecta. It's like they want to make it a brand. They have this movie coming out, the show coming out, and then they have One D&D coming out as well. And they're like making this huge big move to be like, okay, this is the only way you can consume our product is through our subscriptions, through our movies, through our products, and not through yours. It's pretty disgusting. So anyway, I ranted a lot in this whole podcast today. So let's move on.
No, I think it was incredibly educational. Like I said, I really didn't know anything about it until right before the podcast. We talked about it a little bit. Yeah. And then now I know a lot more about what's going on. It's kind of ick. Too bad.
Big ick. It just sucks. It's like, obviously, big corporations got to big corporate, but it just sucks to see it happen to something you really love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Feels like an obvious, like, capitalism's going to do its thing, but it's something that
sucks to see it.
It's from the 80s. I mean, it's kind of a why now, and like you said, the perfect trifecta is just kind of, I think it's because everyone is falling in love with it, so they're like, oh, we need to monetize this. And
especially like Stranger Things, they're playing D&D in there, so like it's just, it's becoming so popular now, and they're just like, what if we made even more money on it? It's like, dude,
exactly.
Stop.
Yep.
And like I said, I think you'll lose what people love about it if you do that.
Yep.
So hopefully they do figure out a way to walk it back, because they need to. The other TV news that we have is kind of close to my heart, and that is, well, the news itself is that the English actor for Trigun Stampede, Johnny Young Bosch, he's the one who actually voiced Vash the Stampede in the original anime.
Done so much,
Oh, yeah.
He's returning to play Vash the Stampede, and that's really exciting. The reason it's close to my heart is Trigun, which came out, I think, in the 90s, early 2000s.
It was a lot of people's first anime aside from Dragon Ball Z, I think, is what.
Yeah, it was besides Dragon Ball Z. I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z, and I wasn't like invested in Dragon Ball Z. I would say that Trigun, to me, is like my first anime that got me into
This
anime.
is right up there with like Full Metal Alchemist as like a lot of people's first anime, I think.
Yeah. Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite, for sure. Brotherhood specifically, favorite anime of all time. But, I don't know, Trigun, it was the weirdest thing. So I was in high school, and I had killed a spider, and someone said it was murder. I don't think they were being serious. And I can't remember the excuse that I gave, but I explained why it wasn't murder. And so because of that, they were like, you remind me of Nicholas D. Wolfwood. And I was like, who? And they were like, from Trigun. And he is a, can we say semi-Christian? We'll say Christian. You don't want to judge anyone. He's a Christian character in Trigun.
You can say he's a religious man.
Very good Christian character in Trigun.
Yeah.
I don't know the salvation of this fictional character.
Right.
Given that he's fictional, probably not gonna, meet him in heaven or anything, but
right.
He's kind of, I don't know. I think it's interesting that I think it's Firefly stole from Trigun, but this kind of encompasses who Nicholas D. Wolfwood is specifically, and that is a line where he goes, I thought you weren't supposed to kill people. And he said, yeah, but the book's a little fuzzy and I'm shooting people in the kneecaps. Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, is Shepard, right? Firefly? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He says that too. But I think it perfectly encompasses who... He's got like a confessional that he brings with him. He's a Catholic preacher, apparently.
Yeah.
And he's got this little church that he puts over his head.
Yep.
Make you pay money to do confessionals. It's crazy. But, no, really, really good anime. I'm excited for this. I don't love the animation style yet.
It's that 3D stuff.
Yeah, I can't get into it yet.
Yeah.
It does look better than Ruby. But I'm just
low
not...
bar. I'm sorry. I was thinking a lot about
ready
Ruby
for
recently.
I want... Just give me normal 2D animation, but make it really vibrant. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't need the weird cell shading stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
But I will definitely check this out. It looks like it's not necessarily a continuation. It seems like it's a separate original story, so kind of an alternate universe kind of thing. Where, almost like a reboot, I guess.
Yeah, like a retelling, kind of.
Yeah. Character designs are a little bit different. I thought that was an interesting choice. But overall, really, really excited about this.
My brother used to have the glasses. Like
I wanted them so bad for so long. Everyone's really tall and lanky in that show, and I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's why I never went with. I thought about cosplaying Nicholas D. Wolfwood, and if you want to cosplay someone that looks nothing like you, should do it. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Live your dreams. But I was always dissuaded from doing so because he's so tall that I'm just not. But I'm not gonna. There's a picture somewhere on the internet that's heavily inspired by him, and that's as far as I want to go with that because I don't want people looking for it.
Okay.
I said but, and then immediately regretted that. Anyways, I'm excited for the show. It comes out January 21st. It's already out in Japanese if you want to watch it that way.
Cool.
I really liked Bosch's dub of it, so I'm excited that he's returning. Yeah. And that is the podcast this week. You guys geeking out about anything else this week?
Not really.
I don't think so. No.
Cool. I don't know if I can really say this is geeking out, but I went on a really nice hike yesterday. And that was really
hey, you can geek out about nature.
you can geeking out about God's creation.
Football fans and sports fans geek out about sports, so you can. Doesn't have to
I'm
be,
hoping to hike a lot more this spring. I'm not
I've
necessarily
been in the mood for a
someone
hike.
who hikes. You what?
Sounds so nice.
What'd you say, Shelley?
I said I've been in the mood for a hike.
Yeah.
I haven't
I
hiked
would love
It's
to
not
just
something that
go,
I've ever really done. I've hiked with my mom a couple times in Colorado, and it's always been really easy hikes.
I would love to go just take pictures of nature. I guess from that perspective,
Yeah, and that's what I ended up doing. Is
getting into photography, just taking pictures of nature would be awesome.
I love being a mock photographer of landscapes. I just find the landscape so pretty.
I want to put my photo mode skills into real life.
Yeah, I like capturing those scenes.
Yeah.
And then kind of playing with Lightroom and stuff. I'm definitely
I love Adobe Lightroom.
But it's really cool to just, I don't know, capture those moments.
Yeah.
And I have a dog now. I got in July. It's a Retriever Lab mix who really likes hiking. And so there's a bunch of watering holes in Arkansas that you have to hike to. And so that's kind of my goal for late spring.
There's just swamp down here.
Hiking to
there's just plethora of hiking around here. Hiking is everyone's number one hobby here.
Nice. I love that.
Arkansas it is too, and they call it the natural state. And I didn't know that moving here. I got really fortunate. I live literally 15 minutes away from a really nice waterfall hike. And then where we went yesterday was about an hour away, probably 45 minutes away. Mm-hmm. And that was Devil's Den, and that was really cool. Bunch of waterfalls, and they call it Fossil Flat Trail, and so there's a river, and when the river's dry, you can walk on the rocks, and the rocks are full of fossils.
Oh, cool.
That's so sick.
It's neat. You can check it out on my Instagram, but we'll get to you guys first. Shelley, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
And LJ?
You can find me everywhere on the internet as LJ the Paladin on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
You can find me on Wednesdays at twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace, and on Instagram, because I still use it as a photo app, even though it's kind of a post your TikToks app now.
I respect you.
I hate that. Every time I want to post a little video now, it's oh no, it's got to be a reel. And I'm no, but I don't want it to be a reel.
Yeah, I have always used it for capturing moments of my life. It's almost like a visual diary.
I really.
And so for that to kind of die away,
I really got into Instagram like in that regard, like for a few good years there.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll end the podcast there. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.